Maestro moments. I want to make a statement concerning the flyers and invitations to protest being published and broadcast almost everywhere on the social media. That protest will not fly. The protest will not fly. And I'm saying that not because I am interested in it flying or not flying. I'm saying that as a clear-eyed analyst who I have been witnessing protests in this country since about 1978, the Ali Moscow. That's the first major one that I saw in Nigeria. Of course, I didn't participate. I was too young to participate, but old enough to observe very keenly. Now, the call for protests that we are witnessing, that we're hearing right now, is difficult to wave off as owing to some sinister reasons. No. We are united by hunger, we are united by deprivation. Millions of Nigerians are united by hardship, which we should not be going through in truth, because there's so much abundance everywhere you turn in this country, and we shouldn't be going through this. But that's not even the context within which I'm talking about this. My belief about protests is that it's the natural right of a human being to be able to protest anytime you feel done in, or you feel very uncomfortable about it. So don't agree about something. People should be able to protest. I believe that strongly. And that right should not be denied. It's also the legal right of people to protest in societies as guaranteed by law, so long as it's not destructive. But we're looking at this one. There was a protest in Kenya, and I think a lot of people are getting inspiration from that. By the way, the protests that I've been witnessing must span essentially from 1978 Ali Moscow to, of course, you remember the SAP riots. You had a lot in between, and then you know the SAP riots. Apart from the SAP riots, some people must remember the June 12 struggle, a great one, June 12 struggle. And then you have to, of course, talk about the NSAS protests, which was the last stop. And then you wonder, this Kenyan inspiration, how far could it power this thing? The current situation and dreams of that humongous protest which will right all wrongs. And why am I saying it will fail, as all other ones? The first reason I'm saying it will fail is that the Kenyan model is just taken for granted that if it could happen in Kenya, it could happen in Nigeria. And I know it is not so. As much as we are united in hunger and deprivation and poverty, we are also divided by religion, we are divided by ethnicity, massively so. And if you look at the Kenyan situation, we're also not giving countenance to how the spirit of protest grew in Kenya. I think you could trace that from the Mau origins, where the Kenyans actually fought and bled to the death for their independence from the colonial overlords, as against our own situation, where we simply we waged a war of attrition mostly. We just had some powerful, highly influential figures who raised that, who championed the cause of independence. And don't forget, while the South was asking for independence, the North was saying it wasn't ready for independence and that the colonial overlords should keep everybody down till the North was ready. So, and that departure is always with us, North-South. And you will notice in Nigerian history that very heavily so, protests actually happened in the southern part of the country. And in the southern part of the country, it happens more in the southwest than in any other place. But I will have you know that you had, people from all over what was called the southwest then participating in protests, because the southwest that time, transcended the Yoruba country. You go to the Midwest, where you have Edo, Benin, you have today's Delta, and so on and so forth. So you had those departures. The number one reason is, how did we develop this culture of protests? That's very important. It did not come from bleeding. So when you see the movement raised by Julius Malema or led by Julius Malema in South Africa, where everywhere will simply go red at times, you must know that it's from the bleeding culture of the war against apartheid in South Africa that those things came from. And so we have to be conscious of these things, that we cannot build these things on wishful thinking or sheer assumptions or fancy that, I fancy the South African uprising, I fancy the Kenyan uprising, and then it automatically becomes our Lord. I don't think it works like that. So you have origins as something to think about. You have ethnicity as something to think about. You have religion as something to think about. So those are like three factors, but you still have more, of those factors, not just three of them. And the other thing is, if you are going to call out someone who is of average intelligence, for instance, you want this person to join this uprising, what would I be asking if you called me to come and participate in a protest? I haven't seen a lot of protests in my day. What would I be asking you? I would be asking you about the source. If you listen to what Nde was saying, on the social media recently, I saw an interview where he said a lot of the people who cashed out on the NSAS protests, made millions of dollars, were largely unknown. Nobody even thought anybody made that kind of money out of NSAS protests. He said we thought they were leaderless, but they actually had leaders. So I want to know where you're coming from. If you're going to call me to say, okay, I think we should protest. Yeah, we should protest. But where are you coming from? I need to know, so that I don't become a cannon fodder. Something you just use and you make money quietly while I go face harsh situations. That is one thing to think about. The other thing that I will be asking is, what's the game plan? What is the game plan? That's the second thing I'll be asking you. How do you intend to mobilize people? How do you intend to ensure that your ranks are not infiltrated? What plans do you have against police brutality, for instance, against the agents of state who are surely going to come in on this and make sure that it doesn't work? What's your game plan for all that? If you don't have satisfactory answers for me on all those counts, I'm not going to join you. I won't. And then apart from that, the other question I'll be asking you is, what is the end game? Because when we set out like that to risk life and limb, to face whatever is coming, we must have end game. So how do we close the game when we get to that point? And then finally, what are we going to achieve? Do you want to protest just like we had the former head of state and one former entertainer on telephone talking, that at least their voices, because nobody has accused them, nobody charged them to court, so we can't say categorically, but then it appeared to be their voices. So is it something like that we want to do? That immediately the person they preferred did not win the election, they wanted a mass action, in which they said they wouldn't mind if 2 or 3 people were shot, so that the thing will become big, there will be a conflagration. If that's the kind of thing you want to do, of course, I would not be interested in that. But if you had a game plan, if you were going to protest, and you had a game plan, and you had an end game, okay, we can begin to look at that. But it's not going to be done in a hurry. The people who are calling for this protest, who are they? The people who, they even gave it a date. They gave it a date. What's the benefit? So, joining bandwagons as soon as someone says, oh, the situation is hard. Yes, it is hard. I want to ask questions, and then I want answers. These are my reasons for saying this thing will not fly. Because people have to come out. As the people in Nadeco came out in those days and said, look, these are our faces, and we have integrity, and we will march ahead of you, we will face the consequences. And many of them were hit, and many of them were jailed, some of them were killed. Those things happen. So you know this is what we are going into, and these are our faces. Anybody who does not want to show his face as the leader, and we could ask questions that, okay, before I follow you, I want to understand what is on ground. If I can't get that, then what kind of uprising is that? Look at the massive uprising that happened in the United States of America in the wake of Donald Trump election. It was massive. But we saw the leaders, we saw the faces of the people who are leading. In this country, we've always seen the faces of the leaders, whether it's massive student action. Yours truly, have faced some state actions before. So this is why I say this is not going to fly. As all the other ones that will force on us knee-jerk reaction, sometimes with the best of intentions. Sometimes some of these things are not even for altruistic purposes, and they go on like that and happen. And before some people begin to say this is defeatist, this is just a way of doing this and that, let us answer the questions first, one by one. I have raised many items on this nationwide this, nationwide that. Let's answer the questions, because by answering questions, then we can now move ahead and say, okay, we're having a conversation. This is my bit on the program Maestro Moments this morning, and I intend to be doing this live from time to time, as frequently as I could. We're otherwise engaged early in the morning from 6:30 a.m. at Agilibo 88.7 FM. So you can join us there. If you didn't know that already, you could join me on Agilibo 88.7 FM Monday to Friday in the morning at 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. And on Sundays, on the BCIA program, I'm there at Agilibo between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock on Sundays. Every Sunday, we have BCIA running there. And let me also have you know that you could follow me on TikTok.umshashei_maestro. .umshashei_maestro. You could follow me, please, on TikTok. Look at some of our posts. Comment, share, like. It helps us. If you also subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be great. That's Maestro TV. Maestro TV is on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that too. We intend to also do wonders on that YouTube channel. We'll be filling it with content as much as we are given the power. to do. You could also follow us on Facebook. We have a couple of Facebook pages. Both are Dr. Shashi Maestro. Dr. Shashi Maestro. Please follow us on Facebook. Like, share, comment, do everything, show love there. Let's get together as this thing thickens. I'm going to, like I told you, try as much as possible to be doing this often. Now, you can also follow me on Telegram and Instagram. Follow me on Instagram and on Telegram. It's also Dr. Shashi Maestro. I will be looking forward to further engaging you. What I do is to see things from as nil partisan position as possible. That's what I strive to do. And it's very difficult to be able to clean yourself absolutely of partisanship. The reason being that there is no position that is totally neutral. Even if you are not a partisan, your position sometimes will benefit, some party, since you are not going to be bringing it from the moon. But what we try to do is to ensure that as much as possible, we stay true to our great convictions. Thank you very much for watching this. Bye for now.